This is the Rexburg History Museum in Rexburg, Idaho. It is housed inside of the old Rexburg Tabernacle, which was built in 1911, and it served as that function for the LDS Church until 1980. The museum until recently had been named the Teton Flood Museum based on the big natural disaster that happened here that I'll talk about later. The building is on the National Register of Historic Places. I got to go in the old Tabernacle Chapel, which has a really ornate ceiling. And also that's a pretty neat organ. The museum itself is housed in the basement. The building is now used as a civic center. This is a cabinet of stuff from the Daughters of Utah Pioneers. This is an 1880 flower picture made of women's hair. They would save the hair from their brushes to make art with them. That's a portrait of Beaver Dick, the first white settler in the area with a hilarious name, and he married Jenny, a Shoshone woman after whom Jenny Lake in Grand Teton National Park is named. This was surprising to see here, the saddle of Pawnee Bill. He worked for Buffalo Bill's Wild West show for a while, then he did his own Wild West show that was never quite as well known, although it was popular for a time until everything went downhill for him. On the right is a side saddle used by a pioneer midwife in the region. This is a pioneer kitchen. Like all small town museums, gotta have creepy dolls. These are masonry tools used when quarrying the stone and constructing the tabernacle. That's a boot-making sewing machine in the center. And here's a bunch of agricultural tools from the area, and yes, potatoes are grown around Rexburg. A miniature replica of one of the first cabins built in Rexburg. A classic national cash register. This is a solid salt and pepper shaker collection, though definitely not the Salt and Pepper Shaker Museum in Gatlinburg. These are beaded gloves used by a Pony Express rider. There's an organ and a radio. This organ was brought here to the Upper Valley in 1883. A local was inspired in 1913 to weave a tapestry of world peace, and she completed it in 1915 for the Panama Pacific International Exposition in San Francisco that year, where it was displayed. The exposition celebrated the completion of the Panama Canal. They do let you play with some calculators, registers, and typewriters. For the 50th anniversary, they had a special display on Apollo 11, including this newspaper, and that's the special edition of Life magazine about it. That was the second television in Rexburg, purchased in 1953. Old barbershop seat and artifacts. And the scary dentist chair and setup. There's a bunch of teeth models, definitely a little weird. They do have some nice military artifacts. And that's a bell from the USS Rexburg. It was used as a rescue escort in World War II. And now, the Teton Flood Museum. The city decided to change its name because they didn't have enough about the Teton Flood to name the museum after it. It all started with the construction of the Teton Dam, which was completed in November of 1975, but it only started fully working in early 1976. But on Saturday, June 5th, 1976, a leak appeared in the dam. Then in a few hours, a significant part of the dam collapsed, causing billions of gallons to flow into the Teton Canyon, which then led into Rexburg and all the surrounding farmlands, into Idaho Falls, Blackfoot, and down to the American Falls Reservoir. They have this long movie they show that was made at the time showing lots of interesting historical footage that lets you see how bad this really was.
It started to come up higher and higher on the overpass. And pretty soon we noticed that it was washing away. And so we kept a close eye on it. But then we noticed more and more of the overpass starting to bear away.
Merchandise was strewn for miles over the surrounding fields. Even though the front edge of the floodwaters was broken up, it was forceful enough to tear walls out of buildings.
This was the worst man-made disaster in Idaho history. It killed 11 people and killed thousands of cattle. At the time, the flood cost over $2 billion in damage, which would amount to $8.4 billion today, but the Rexburg area and Madison County suffered the worst of it. Downtown Rexburg was absolutely ravished, and these are artifacts recovered from the flood. Those are dried mud pieces caused by the flood found in 2016 in a building in Rexburg. Every building got totally flooded. Somehow a miniature chair got stuck in this bottle during the flood. No clue how this happened, but okay. President Gerald Ford used this pen to sign a bill regarding relief of the property losses caused by the Teton Flood. And this is a memorial quilt made after the flood. And now, like 20 or so miles northeast of Rexburg, I'm searching out the site of the Teton Dam, and here we have a historical marker on the Teton Flood. Looks like this is the empty, long abandoned Teton Dam parking lot. There might have been like a building or something here. I believe right here there was like an observation area. You know, some of the major dams have like visitor centers and observation decks. So that's what I think this area was. I know they did have one here. For like 6 months in 1975 and 1976, tourists could just drive up here, park, and overlook the giant dam. And there's a little cairn right there. They have barbed wire to keep people out. from going down there. Doesn't look like that stopped too many people, but that is the site of the Teton Dam. Wow, so it's where on Sunday, June 5th, 1976, dam collapsed. All the water in this giant lake that used to be around here all started going. Probably fled this area, down this little canyon, over towards Sugar City, Salem, Rexburg, Idaho Falls, Blackfoot. And it finally stopped at the American Falls Reservoir, which is well over 100 miles away from here. See, now the Teton River just runs through here. I think the dam would have been like right here. You can see the spillway thing there. I'm not sure if this big landmass was here, or that if they may have put it there afterwards. I'm not really sure. But you can see was that like a spillway or something? That still is intact. You see, go down there. Also over there, there's like a little abandoned house with a lot of graffiti on it. It looks like half a house, I don't know. And now this is the collapsed Teton Dam overlook. Hey, look at that, Kilroy was here. I like that graffiti. There's a swastika, uh-oh. Teton Dam Marathon 2019. Now I can hear down there that they're doing something. They like generate electricity, or it's probably like a pumping station. You can definitely hear it all the way up here. And you get a better view of the path of the water. Flooded a whole lot of potato fields. Screwed over a lot of farmers, geez. It was 305 feet tall, I think this earthen wall still is, and it was 3,000 feet across. And also, I don't think there's any plans to build another dam. This one didn't last all too long.